Okay, this is a video about how I'm being stalked by NSA agents. I think they're NSA, but they could be CIA or NSA, but I think they're one or the other. But anyway, so I didn't really notice, being stalked until 2013. And I'm sure I was probably always under surveillance because I remember 16 years ago, actually more than that, like 20 years ago, I'd be talking to my mom and I would hear click, 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 clicks like on the landline phone. And so yeah, I think they've been surveillancing negative blood type people like all the time. I think they're always under surveillance because they know the aliens are messing with them. Well, I think the whole world is being messed with, but they especially know the negative blood types are going to be so, and are being messed with. So that's why from time to time they kind of surveillance you to see what you're up to or whatever. But I don't really think they really care until you know that you're being messed with. And then when they know that, that's when they come in and do a little more things like stalk you by vehicle and drone. Yeah, it's really weird, I know, man. This dimension is so bizarre land. And it's a circus. And it's freaking Bizarreville. But yeah, it's definitely one big circus. But yeah, okay, so in 2013 in December of 2012, I joined the David Icke forums. And so anyway, you're not going to see any of this tampering until, you get out of your trance and then you see everything. So, but like I say, they could have even been stalking me by vehicles many, many years ago and I just didn't notice because I was in a trance. But anyway, okay, so in 2012, I joined the David Icke forums, and then it was in February, I noticed a black helicopter that was going past my house, back and forth, very, very, very low. I mean, low. From 5 p.m. to 11:45. It was 5 p.m. to almost midnight. A black helicopter. Now, how do they even have enough gas to do that? But maybe they did stop off to get some new gas. Yeah, because how would they have enough gas to do that? But like I said, maybe they did stop for a few minutes to go get some more gas or whatever. I don't know. I've never been in a helicopter. I don't know how they are. But see, I went to the bookstore about that time, and then I noticed the black helicopter, and then I stayed up till about midnight, and it was going over my house back and forth all the way up till about midnight. But I did not know that that's what it was doing, that because it already knew that somehow the aliens were in my house. It was 2 months later, after that February, it was in April of 2013, that's when I knew the Greys were in my house and the aliens were in my house. My whole enlightenment and awakening had to be in little steps, like little steps, like when I was age 13 and then 28 and then little steps. So I was meant to know about the aliens at the age that I, became aware of them. That was totally meant to be. So in 2013 of April, that's when I knew the aliens were in my house. And then it was still several months later that I put 2 and 2 together about the black helicopter. I mean, if I would have known at the time that that the aliens were in my house and that I was being abducted, I would have definitely taken pictures of, or taken some video of, with my cheap camera or whatever. I would have taken some pictures at least of the black helicopter. But see, I didn't know it. I didn't know at that time that that's what the black helicopter was doing. Okay, so then it was, but I wasn't conscious of being aware of being stalked by vehicles until just about this time. It was about No, actually, it was about a year and over a half ago. A year and a half ago, about August, or when was it? Yeah, around August or early September. When an agent, when I was going to the bookstore, an agent just came right up on my ass. I mean, just within millimeters of my ass. This Chrysler 300 with illegal tint black windows. Totally illegal tint. And it did have normal state license plates. Of course, it's not going to say U.S. government like an IRS government vehicle. It's going to say U.S. government. But not when you're with the NSA and CIA. They're incognito. So yeah, this agent came right up on my ass, and I instantly knew that it was an agent. So I sped up. It came right up on my ass within millimeters. I sped up after it already sped up and went around me. I sped up, and then I looked back. When I stopped at there was a red light. So when I sped up, I stopped at the red light, and he had to stop at the red light in the left-hand lane, and I looked back, and I took a look at him. He didn't look much older than me. He had glasses. He looked very, very, very studious. Very, very government vibe about him. And, you know, very serious vibe about him. And he was like, well, I don't think he liked it that I sped up and looked back at him. I don't think he liked that at all. And he was, like I said, he was, you know, good looking. He was very studious looking. He had glasses on. And he looked about my age, maybe not much older than me. And he was doing because he knew I looked back at him. He could see me doing that. Because we were stopped, you know, at a red light. And he was just doing these hand motions at me, like, you know, just kind of like he knew that I knew some shit, or, you know, and just like, don't be fucking around or something, you know, like he meant business, you know, don't be fucking around. Like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, he was definitely doing these hand motions at me like he meant business. And like that he knew that I knew some shit about the aliens or whatever. And, so I guess maybe they read, you know, the David Icke forums and stuff, I don't know. But it wasn't till, you know, till April of 2013 that I even started posting stuff about aliens. Because like I say, in December of 2012, I didn't know the aliens were in my life and had been all my life until a couple months later in April. Okay, so anyway, but that was on a Saturday at about 6 p.m. The Friday, the day before that, a hatchback gray Mercedes, not gray, silver, a hatchback silver Mercedes, that was on a Friday. Saturday, the agent, I'm not going in order here, but Saturday, the agent stalked me in the dark tinted windows, illegal tint windows in the Chrysler 300. But it was that Friday, the day before, at 2 p.m., I noticed a strange car in front of my house. And it was the silver. All of these vehicles are exact replica, except the Oldsmobile is a little bit off. But this was exact Mercedes that was in front of my house that Friday. The day before, the Chrysler 300 stalked me going down the road. At 2 o'clock, I noticed the silver hatchback in front of my house, parked there with a man inside it, and that was at 2 p.m. I noticed it. I don't know how long it had been there, but that was at 2 p.m., and I thought it was kind of strange. It was a brand new silver hatchback Mercedes, and it was just the back part was tinted. And then I thought, well, that's kind of weird, you know, so I'm going to go outside and pretend like I'm playing with my cat. So I took Hannah out the front door, and then he kind of like looked at me and like hurried up and took off. And I got a good look at him too. But he kind of seemed scared of me. He seemed scared of me, but that fucker that was in the Chrysler 300, he like really scared me. He was very, very scary. Very, very scary. Okay, so, but then there was this other weird anomalous thing too that was just really weird. And this was like, 2 or 3 days after the Saturday. Like, it was like a Monday, after the Chrysler 300 stalked me going down the road. It was like on a Monday, I came home and I noticed, like a little, I don't know, it was something on my wall, like a little freaking, some paint that looked kind of, a little lighter than the other paint, right over there by the kitchen table. Yeah, I just noticed the spot. I guess I could see it because the lighting was just right, you know, with the sun and everything. The lighting was just right. And I was just like, what the hell is this? So I went over there and I kind of picked at it and picked at it and picked at it just to see if there was anything behind there. And I think there was like a little nail or something. But I don't know. It was just, that may have nothing to do with anything, but it just was really weird and anomalous. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of weird. Like, hopefully there's not a bug or something back there, or a camera or something. But, yeah, so that was just kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, also, it was about, I don't know, about a year and a half ago. Yeah, about a year and a half ago, that a drone just came out of, well, actually, first of all, it beat my left implant in my ear. My left implant started making weird noises. My left ear alien implant, non-physical implant, started making noises when I was going, like I say, this was about a year and a half ago, maybe almost 2 years ago, that I was sitting on the kitchen floor at 6 p.m. and I was eating before I went to the gym, the YMCA, and my left implant started making noises. It's like, I guess the government triggered it on purpose. My left ear implant started making, you know, noises like humming and shit. I can't remember, to tell you the truth, the exact noises it was making, but it did beat it somehow triggered my left ear implant. And then when I went down the road to the gym, this drone just freaking like came out of fucking nowhere. Just seemed like it came out of freaking nowhere, this drone, and it looked exactly like this. It was a big, big, big drone, not like a little toy drone. And it was really, really, really low, and it just like flew really low right over my car. And then it proceeded to go, you know, just straight diagonal over to the left side of the YMCA. And I was just like, what the hell? And so, and then there actually was another, drone when I was at the Y that it was more of a sophisticated toy kind of drone. You know, it looked more like a little toy drone, except it wasn't a toy, you know, it was sophisticated. But it looked more like one of the little toys, but it was much bigger, much more expensive, you know, than a toy drone. And that was not long, I don't know, maybe many months after the big airplane-looking drone stalked me. This little drone. But like I say, that may have not, I think, like I say, I think that was targeting me because it kind of stopped. It was up pretty high and it stopped hovering over my car. So I still think that was stalking me, you know what I'm saying? And that looked like this drone. And, so then, okay, so after that incident, okay, let me think. Okay, so then there was another incident where, and this was about 2 years ago as well. I'm going to get to the recent one in a minute, but this was a couple years ago as well. The Oldsmobile, I mean, like, this was much older Oldsmobile. It was like 1990, 1991 Oldsmobile. It, was parked in front of my car, but I didn't notice it till around 8 o'clock at night. And then, of course, by the time I got up at 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning, it was gone. But this weird-looking Oldsmobile was parked in front of my house. And the back, it was even much nicer looking than this. I mean, it looked almost brand new, except you can tell it was like a 1990 Oldsmobile. It was, you know, facing the direction just like this in front of my house. The Oldsmobile was as well. But it was kind of like multicolored. Like it kind of had like brown and then like a lighter brown. But anyway, it looked pretty much like that brown one, but not exact replica. I couldn't really find an exact replica of what it looked like. That was parked in front of my house. Yeah, and that was like a Wednesday night. And I did go to the bookstore then as well. And when I came back from the bookstore, I remember being in front of my house and, well, actually, I can't remember if it was after work or after I came back from the bookstore. But anyway, it could have been after work or maybe after the bookstore. I can't remember. But I was in front of my house and I smelled the strong, shit smell, like the strong sulfur smell. Right, and I was outside of my house, in front of my window, just a couple feet away from my house. And sometimes the aliens can give off that smell. And that coincided with this old 1990s Oldsmobile. Oh, but too, by the way, this is all kind of very weird, but, after I realized about the black helicopter, I looked it up on the internet. And yeah, and other people had said, yeah, you'll get stalked by black helicopters. And then, of course, after the white Chrysler 300 experience with dark tinted windows, and after the Mercedes experience, I looked it up again. What kind of vehicles do government agents drive? And, they said the same thing. Oh, big white Chrysler, 300, dark tinted, illegal tint windows and silver cars. And it's just so weird, like it confirmed everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's really bizarre. Okay, so then, let's see, there's something else I was going to say. So yeah. Oh yeah, and another thing too, I had 2 other recent drone attacks, so to speak. No, actually a lot more than that. Several times a drone, if anybody else looked at it, they would just think it was a commercial plane. But it's not a commercial plane. You can clearly tell that it's flying too low for number 1. And number 2, you can see it. I can see it close enough to where you can totally see that there are no windows whatsoever. No windows. And it's a drone just like this as well. Kind of like the one that stalked me at the YMCA. It's flown over my house a few times. And but the recent times was just when I was on my bicycle about a week and a half ago on a Sunday. It flew over, and of course there's nobody else around. And when I was on my motorcycle about a week ago, it flew over, and there was nobody else around me on the streets. And also there was nobody else around me when I went to the YMCA a couple years ago. There was nobody else around me, immediately around me, no other cars or anything. I know it was targeting me. And, yeah, and those were just recent ones with the drone. But like I say, a couple other times, many times, I'd be standing in my front yard, and I would see this same drone. And like I say, the first time I saw it, I just thought it was a commercial airplane. And then I started putting two and two together. Okay, so I think I said everything except for the most recent. The most recent experience I had was just on Monday. What date was that? I don't know, 25th or 23rd? Okay, so that was the 23rd. On Monday, May 23rd, I went to the bookstore and I was sitting there with my sister, and an agent was just, came up and sat right by me and just kind of kept staring at me. But he wasn't very intimidating. He wasn't very intimidating at all. And I do not know what kind of vehicle he was driving, because he was, I remember what he looked like and everything. I mean, he looked like he was 50s. But like I said, I don't know what vehicle he was driving. And but he was kind of fidgeting around with he was acting like he was looking at magazines, and then he was fidgeting around with his cell phone. And then when me and my sister walked out the door, but anyway, he just kind of kept looking at me and, I don't know, just kind of smirking and shit. But he wasn't very intimidating at all. I don't know if he kind of knew, I knew that maybe, that's who I thought he was. I don't know if he kind of already picked up on that or not. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he was an agent, but I don't know if he really knew that I knew that. Maybe he did. Maybe they get real psychic people too to work for them. I have no idea. So then, when I went out the door, me and my sister went out the door, and she drove home and I drove home. And like, this is also very weird because like, how did the other agent know that I was going to go home this exact way? So anyway, I went an ass backwards way home, which I do normally always go home that way. But sometimes I don't. I go another way. So I went up the narrow street, and this car, this is about exact replica, like a Lincoln type of long, brand new white car. The agents like to drive silver cars and white cars, sometimes black. And this car had non-tinted windows. There was no black tint at all. It was totally non-tint. And it came up around the corner in the opposite direction. You know, it was coming, you know, at me. And I was going the other direction to go home. Well, when it came around the corner, it immediately got in my lane and started driving at me like it was going to hit me head on. Now, this is fucking bizarre land, man. Like it was going to hit me head on, and it was just like everything happened so fast I couldn't even hardly honk my horn. And I finally did kind of tap it, barely, but I mean everything happened so fast. Yeah, it's kind of funny how I see a little alien face right there. A little alien face. They somehow mind control you to see, or once you enlighten, you know, you start seeing the little aliens in many different ways. You see their little imprints and things. Trees, bushes, tiles, and stuff like that. But yeah, so it just was like driving straight at me, and I was just like, I couldn't even think fast enough. I mean, it happened so fast, I was just kind of like, you know, what, motherfucker? I mean, I was like, what the hell, you know? And then it just like, bam, swerved over, you know? Swerved over and got in the normal lane. But it's almost like they train these agents to drive really, really well. Or maybe they have high technological cars where they can just tell it to like, you know, where it's kind of remote controlled. Just tell it to go head on to this, you know, person and then swerve over at the right timing or something, you know? I mean, how did he know that I wasn't just going to get out of his stupid ass way? How did he know I wasn't going to fucking go over in the wrong lane just so I can miss him, and then we both would have hit each other head on. You know what I'm saying? But it was fucking bizarre land, and I got a good look at him. He looked much, much older, like late 50s or 60. Kind of gray-headed, and he just kind of, I could be wrong, but because everything happened so fast, he kind of looked like he was looking down, fucking with his cell phone. And that was the most recent incident on Monday. And this car was involved. The Lincoln. Big white Lincoln with non-tinted windows. And like I say, it was just bizarre. Because how are you going to go, you know, go hit somebody head on or act like you're going to hit them head on and then just swerve over at the proper timing without that person, you know, I don't know. I mean, it was coming at me for quite some time. I don't know why, you know, it was coming straight at me head on quite some time. I don't know why. Well, like I say, everything happened so fast. I don't know how they could time all this shit just right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was timed just right to where I didn't even have enough time to try to get away from him and to come over in, you know, the left-hand lane. Right at the same time, he popped back over, and, well, it would have been his right-hand lane, and for me, it would have been left-hand lane, and then we both would have hit each other head on. But I never did swerve over, because he swerved over, you know, fast enough to where I didn't have to. I mean, how did they properly time all this bullshit? You know, it's very strange. But anyway, at least they only stalk me about once every 15 months. Thanks for listening. Now I got to go recycle some shit down at the recycling plant, and they close at 5 o'clock, and I got to hurry.